Imagine it's a Saturday evening, and you decide you want to have some drinks. So you head into town, and you visit a few bars. And when it's around 3 o'clock, you decide it's enough, I want to go home. So you leave the bar. But when you leave the bar and you're on the street, you see there's a big group of people over there. And there's a lot going on, because people are shouting, being aggressive. And when you walk out of the bar, you are in the middle of this group. So you want to get out. So you walk out of the group towards a police officer who is standing over there. But on that exact moment, he arrests you. He cuffs you, and he takes you back to the police station. And they interrogate you, because they think you threatened to hurt this police officer. So you tell them quite clearly, this is all a big misunderstanding. I'm innocent, had nothing to do with this. But they don't believe you. And it doesn't end there, because a few months later you have to go to court. And in your case, there are two pieces of evidence. There's the statement of the police officer saying, you threatened to hurt him. But there's also your statement that you're innocent. And the judge says that the police officer's statement is more important than yours, because he is a police officer and you are not. And he has authority and you don't. So he is to be trusted, and you are convicted. So right now you might wonder, well, is this really possible? Could this happen? And I have to tell you that, in fact, it is possible, and it does happen. In our Dutch legal system, one piece of evidence is not enough for a conviction. There has to be more. And it's a very important rule, because it tries to avoid a conviction based on one piece of evidence that could be inaccurate or false. But we have one big exception to this rule. When that one piece of evidence is a statement of a police officer, it actually is enough for a conviction. So in other words, this witness of the police officer is worth more than yours. So why do we have this exception? Are police officers more reliable than we are? For example, are they better witnesses? Well, this witness statement is one of the most important pieces of evidence in our criminal legal system. But as we all know, witness statement comes with a lot of risks. For example, there can be external factors that can be of influence, like the weather, or if the witness is wearing his glasses, where he's standing, or how much time went by. But mainly this witness statement is the product of a very complicated internal process. Because everything you see through your personal view. And your knowledge or your preconceptions of a situation, or a person or a group, it can all influence this observation. So we never have a clear and unprejudiced view on things. So it's always really tempting to believe someone who says he is 100% sure about what he saw. Really tempting. But what if I tell you that there is actually no real relationship between this confidence and accuracy? So it means saying that you are 100% sure says nothing about if you really are. So how about police officers? Because it would sound reasonable to say they are better at observing or seeing criminal behavior, because it's what they do every day. It's their job and they are used to it. Well, you're right, but there is a risk. Because if you are used to a certain pattern, there's a risk of seeing this pattern where there isn't any. So you could see crimes where there are no crimes. So could we still say that this police officer is in fact a better witness? For instance, does training make him a better witness? Well, research shows that training has no real positive effect on the normal police officer on the streets. It may have some positive benefits in specific situations, but the normal police officer on the streets does not become a better witness because of this training. So, are there any other reasons to justify the value we give to his statement? Well, as you all know, a police officer makes a promise at the beginning of his career of being honest and ethical. But ask yourself, what does this integrity mean if you are making mistakes you are not aware of? I am really glad that we have police officers to help us and to protect us. We need them, and they're doing a great job. But they're just human, and they're not superhumans. So the law should not treat them like that. Because we have to face the fact that police officers are just people, and people make mistakes, and we have to be aware of that. They will be facing the same difficulties, making the same mistakes as normal witnesses would do. And in fact, I know of plenty of cases where people with authority, like police officers, actually made those mistakes. In a criminal case, a judge can always doubt the statement of a police officer. And some judges do. But when a judge, without any reason, would doubt the statement of this police officer, it will feel like a big distrust towards the police. And they don't want that. I'm a criminal lawyer. And when I talk to colleagues about this issue, they tell me, Meike, just get used to it, because we need this rule. And if it wasn't for this rule, it wouldn't be possible to get convictions in a lot of small cases. Well, I don't want to get used to it, because I don't think it's fair to blindly trust someone only because he has authority. And meanwhile, it still happens. Convictions of people based on one piece of evidence, the statement of a police officer. A few weeks ago, I read about a simple criminal case. A guy was suspected of offending a police officer. And again, in his case, there were two pieces of evidence. Statement of the police officer saying the accused offended him. And the accused denied these accusations. Well, he got convicted. And this is what the judge said about the case. I had to trust the police officer because he said he was 100% sure. And I have to trust him, and I want no discussion about this. So after everything I just told you, do you think this is fair? At the end of the day, if you are subject to a criminal case, and it's your word against that of a police officer, well, in most cases, you will lose. But if our justice system is about looking for the truth, why do we still value one witness over the other, only because of authority? Because we don't want innocent people convicted. So we should no longer accept this system of inequality. Thank you.